I don't know if you heard anything that I just said, but I am happy to repeat and come back as we are. I'm going to introduce everybody one more time very quickly, as I'm sure our teams want to get underway. Mr. Beatdown Boulevard, our fantastic desk analyst, and OPTSM fan. Guys, how we doing this evening?
Doing great.
Beatdown?
Doing pretty good. Real quick, just to relive the magic of the opening that never was. OP, how's the weather up there?
It's pretty warm out here. Nice dry heat over here and everything. It's pretty
Beautiful.
nice.
I
Mhm.
love it.
Yeah, it was confirmed actually that OPTSM fan was over 25,500 feet tall over the head of Beatdown Boulevard. So there was that at
That's
least
right.
confirmed to some extent. We're going to get into games very quickly here as we're into week number 2. And thankfully, we actually get to cast a fantastic little series here in the Infernal Division as just UT Dallas are coming out, both with one win, two of the top statted teams after week 1 as well. You could say whether or not it was the opponents, but either way, we had some knockout games from the previous week to be able to talk about as you're going to get a chance to see some of these rosters up against one another. We'll start with you, Beatdown. What did you think of last week's performance from these two teams?
Oh, well, from what I saw of Just Randoms, I was pretty happy overall. It is really interesting to see the team be a player run or in where that they don't actually really have any coaching staff, but you still see some really solid drafts come through from them. They play to their strengths really well, and the coordination is actually quite good. Like we talked about it before going live. Big fan of Chim in the top lane. Seems to be a very flexible player in that he can play weak side champs, he can play strong side champs, and of course you look to short hop and pockets in the bot lane. Very strong, no matter how Just Randoms decide to play the game. And if you want short hop to carry, he absolutely can.
And OP, I know you're very well invested within the collegiate scene. So why don't you tell us a little bit about UTD and their successes from last week and what our expectations of them could be for this week as well?
Yeah, UT Dallas, coming off their win against Bay State College last week, which was like a really, really hard fought series. I thought before going into it, they're a really strong team fight oriented team that, they have the Johns down the bot lane who seems like he's been there forever. They got good former support for UT Dallas now in the mid lane, making that transition, and everything just kind of runs through YHL in the jungle. And I had them winning last week, and it was a really good showing for them. And it's going to be really nice to see how they show up here today against Just Randoms.
And even better, both of these teams actually came out in what was likely to be at least a very provocative division in the fact that like Bay State had come in and gotten into playoffs, and the Conviction, who came out as a number 1 seed coming into playoffs from last bit, both getting upset by these two new teams into the Upsurge division here, which I think was incredible. They see some of these new teams and these new players find a bunch of success. And you had said, I'll come back to you, OP, where this was a team fight oriented team. They had some of the highest kill participation rates across every one of their players, playing for that team strength, playing to Johns. What is the matchup? I think that is their X factor here today to try to get them a win over a team as talented as Just Randoms has been, having been that team that's taken us and taken a lot of games, almost gotten to finals of UPL in years past.
Yeah, I would have to say that for most part, they always will look to get YHL involved early and going to the bot lane for the Johns. But I think if you were looking for the X factor, it's going to be Lunarly in the top lane for me. This guy is a stalwart of a player, came on to UTD about 3 years ago, and he's really known for a lot of tank play, but he does have some like pocket carry picks and stuff like that. And I think that he is the back of which UTD is like held upon.
Yeah, you love to see the rock, which things are built upon. He's the foundation for everything. He keeps everything solidified. And how about you, Mr. Beatdown? As you've already mentioned Chim, we got a chance to talk about that being the X factor. Is that the same for you, being able to watch this top lane matchup, or is there somewhere else on the map you're keeping your eyes on?
I think, especially with the graphic timing being so good here, yeah, Chim is definitely my pick for the laner to watch there for the side of Just Randoms, especially when you look at the other lanes. Of course, short hop and pockets are really good. I think competition is very solid. But the thing is, Josie mostly plays to the laners, and more often than not, that does end up being Chim, despite how flexible he can be. He does perform really well on some of those carry top laners, and it's done Just Randoms a whole lot of good in recency. So I expect that to be a big strong point here for this team, because even when Chim is playing more tanky champions like the Cho'Gath, for instance, he still manages to have a really serious impact outside of being, of course, the big meaty shield.
Of course. And what we saw last week, I think, from both of these teams was a lot of ability to play out of multiple positions and a lot of different places succeeding on the map, which is going to be exciting to watch. I think jungler versus jungler, this is potentially one of our favorite matchups. I know, OP, you've already talked about potentially what is going to be YHL, which is an abbreviated name. You'll get to see the whole thing. We just don't want to mispronounce or say anything here on the desk or anything like that. But exceptional across all games between these two junglers, and I think that's a matchup to keep an eye on. So if we're talking about where to attack on the map, OP, I know you talked a little bit about wanting to go through bot lane beatdown. What about do you try to unlock trim? Do you try to unlock mid lane, attack both side lanes? What is your intention here for the side, I guess, of just randoms?
So the goal for them, I think, is going to be probably to attack side lanes. I think competition does seem to like to play champions where you can win it out in the mid, get that priority for just randoms to play make early. But when you have strong laners in top and bot like that, you do have the option for just set yourself up for those side lane plays. I haven't seen it, but we talked about it, and I'd like to see just randoms play sort of champion with a global, like you think TF, you think Galio, for them to make plays to their strong side laners, especially if you do get Chim on a really strong pick, like the Wukong, for instance, that he had a really good time on last week, to say the least.
That he did. Absolutely popped off on that pick in the previous week, being able to get a little bit of that on your screens now. OP, how about you? I have a couple questions actually loaded into the chamber here for you. First one, Cinder's a bad champion, right? I'm glad you
No.
agree with me. That's fantastic. I love your answer on that one. Very thorough about how bad that champion is. More specifically, UTD, being that collegiate team, has a lot of pressure behind them. We mentioned that Just Randoms does not have a coach. Do you think that the coaching staff and the ability to have that kind of extra set of eyes, that overarching ability to give a lot of instruction to the players makes a difference here, especially for a team? I mean, if you were just to look at op.gg/ladder rankings, maybe you wouldn't think that the side of UTD has much of a challenge here against this set of very phenomenal challenger players.
I think having a coaching staff always helps, as long as they're like sending you and feeding you the correct information and things to work on and improve. I do think that UT Dallas does have that staff in place currently. Their student coach Emil is someone that I respect a whole lot. So to answer your question, just plainly, yeah, I do think it can help and fill in the gaps where maybe, as you were saying, if you're just looking at straight op.gg rankings, that they may lack in terms of individual perceived skill just off of season 11 rankings.
Okay, and I'll bounce back to you one more time, OP, as we're going to be getting into game very quickly. Predictions, as my friend Ravish on the desk always loves to say. Is it going to be 1,000 to 1? Is it going to be 3,200 to 100.9.61614? Whatever. Numbers, real quick comment. Who's winning the series?
I think this should be a closer game than probably what a lot of people think, and I have UTD winning 2-1.
Beatdown, sentiment, same, different?
No, quite different, in fact. I'm going to say 2-0 for Just Randoms here. I think it is a really important point to mention the difference with the fact that UGD do have coaching staff. That's a big thing. Thing is, though, that helps a lot with draft and a lot of general strategy, which is good. But I think individual skill here is going to show for Just Randoms. And outside of UTD picking just really easy to execute team fight comps and having a lot of early game set plays, I don't see it.
It's going to be a tough one. I think both of these teams are absolutely willing to go the distance. Sorry, making sure to get something a little bit clarified here. I have a similar opinion to you, Mr. Beatdown. I think it's more likely that we see a 2-0 in favor of Just Randoms than a 2-1, but I do think that this will be a hard-fought series either way, even if it is a 2-0. Now, here's the thing. We got casters normally, but this evening we had a slight technical issue with one of our casters. So tonight we have caster. The only person I could imagine that's mad enough to go on by himself for a series that's likely to be this electric, Mr. Mad Magical. Take it on.
Alrighty. Welcome in, everybody, to the caster desk. Beatdown, how'd you get over here? Are you supposed to be on the analyst desk today?
Yeah, I could have sworn I just was. That's kind of weird.
Weird.
Well, I mean,
Very
I hope I'm
weird.
here now.
Like, hey, if you're here, you might as well just join me as my color caster for today as we get ready for our matchup of the day. You guys did a great job in breaking down Just Randoms versus UTD. And I'm really interested to see how these two teams are going to be able to play, and especially looking at the top lane. You guys were able to break that down pretty well. But I found really interesting for Lunarly how low his damage percent per minute was. But at the same time, it's kind of indicative of his champion pool, isn't he? He's far more on the tanks and being that person who engages the fights as opposed to actually, killing everyone.
That's right. CC score is not necessarily a useful stat, but I'm going to imagine Lunarly has a very, very high number in that category. But of course, it's as you say, it's big on hard engage, it's big on tanks. We talked about Chim playing Cho'Gath. We could very well see the same thing for Lunarly. And of course, there are many other options as well. And I am curious to see how things are going to play out. You already heard my prediction on the desk. I do think it will be a 2-0. And the big thing I want to see from UTD to prove me wrong is, again, really solid draft playing into what they are best at. That standard team fight composition, that play style they like to play to a lot. And I'm going to need to see like some good set early plays, early game dives, depending on certain matchups and the like. Of course, early game neutral objective as well. I think both of those things are going to be really important for them to overcome what we perceive to be a pretty fair skill gap between these two teams, just if we're looking at individual players.
Well, see, I actually do want to talk about this, and you almost set it up. I want to talk about the possibility that we see Set being a high priority champion.
Oh, I'm listening.
And the reason why I ask this, and I'm asking you if you think that this might be an option, is purely you kind of talked about it. Jim liking to play the Cho'Gath. We already talked about Lunarly liking to play tanks. Set is amazing into tanks. He's a phenomenal choice into those, as well as being a tank himself.
I just want to preface this by saying I think, and this is no bias by the way, I think Set is the most the best designed champ the Riot has ever created. I think he's phenomenal. Everything about him is fantastic.
I just don't like his shield. I don't like his shield.
Hey, listen, I play a lot of Set in and out of ARAM, and I'll tell you, I love the shield. Like I said, no bias by the way. But but I do like Set as a decent counter matchup in certain instances for that same reason. The Showstopper does damage based on bonus health. Big fan of that. You ever ulted a Cho'Gath with 5,000 HP into his enemy team? You delete supports. That's it. They don't exist anymore. It's great.
And that's why I'm wondering if that might be an option that we could see here. It has that flexibility. You don't have to put it into the top lane. You could easily toss that into the bot lane if you want to be able to do that. But you see it sometimes. There's still fasting Senna around, and sometimes you'll see Set paired up with a fasting Senna if you want to go for that. I think Johns does play a bit of Senna, but not too much. So that's why I'm not too sure if we look at the champion pools of both Short Hop and the Johns, if that's really in their wheelhouse. I'm expecting it far more to be the top side as we get ready to jump into draft for game 1. I'm going to keep an eye on if we do see that top lane focus or if that's something that's going to be held off until the very end.
I would like to see the latter, honestly, for UT Dallas. Being on red side, you have that counter pick. Probably top or mid. Either way, a solo lane, I think, is something you want to secure a really good matchup in. And I guess at this point now, I'm just curious about what bans we're going to see come through. You got to imagine first wave, it's going to be a lot of the OP stuff. Tristana, still great. Hecarim, still great. Udyr, I don't like him, but he's still great.
And there he is. Speak of the devil.
Thank you.
Going to be the first ban coming in. I was really curious to see if that was going to be the first ban as well. Honestly, I feel like that's kind of been what Season 11 has been. The bans are pretty typical. You can kind of guess what they are going to be from a mile away. There are some times where you see a focus on like one trick.
Respect bans.
Respect bans. But for the most part, take away the Udyrs, take away Tristana, you take away Seraphine. Hecarim sometimes gets through the bans, but then gets first picked right away. Orianna is even another one of those picks that we see oftentimes make it through. Alistar would be another one that I'd say that we see oftentimes.
True. Yeah. The interesting thing too is actually Rel is another example, like you said, just supports in general that I find very
falling off a bit more than
I agree with you, but the thing is there are still a decent amount of teams who just randoms, for instance, who do see enough value to warrant banning away. The interesting thing I've noticed too is what a lot of teams do is kind of pinch support pools quite a bit, especially on blue side. You secure yourself a good support, like you manage to get yourself something like Rel, Alistar, Thresh, whatever the case may be, and just start banning all the S tier supports. And you do have to end up seeing teams dig a little deep into their support champ pool to see what they can pull out here. But of course, there are still a lot of good support, so it's really hard to ban them all. But there is Thresh too.
Thresh getting banned, and looks like it's going the route that you were just saying, Beat down there. Starting to pinch that pool, probably even get a first lock in of either the jungle or maybe even go for the support. I'm expecting to see probably a support ban coming in from Just Random. So you don't want to ban Hecarim
on
from the
theme.
side. You always want to see if you can force your opponent to ban that so you can take away some of those high priorities yourself, grab it right away. Volibear, I think, is an excellent ban away, but that indicates to me that they want to be able to get a Hecarim right away.
It's probably, you take away two really good early game junglers. The interesting thing is, usually what Hecarim would want to avoid is the Olaf, but I think, see, there you go. Olaf is kind of falling out of favor.
Right.
Speaking of chance, falling out of favor, but there it is. Won't even get the option, as Just Randoms don't get to grab themselves the very dangerous Ghost Horse. But now they can grab Tristana.
I was gonna say there's Tristana, there's Lilia that you can go if you want to be able to grab it in the jungle. And Jinx is something that I still see. Jinx, Tahm Kench, even if Thresh is banned, you grab something like that. Kaisa is still left open. There are a lot of options for both teams. Lilia is what Jauzi's decided to go for as opposed to going for anything else. More to see if they can hold off. See what the side of UTD want to be able to grab for themselves. I honestly wouldn't be too surprised if we see a bot lane focus come in from them.
Could very well likely be. The interesting too, Josie did play the Lilia last week, had some pretty solid success on the champion, farms really well too. Nidalee is interesting. We actually saw pretty much this exact matchup play out in Proving Grounds just earlier, and it does happen quite a bit. I favor Lilia personally. Wave Clear is really good. More team fight utility just with that ultimate, especially if you do go for the quote-unquote full build with the Zhonya's Hourglass first item, where you manage to combine your ult with that beautiful stasis. So Nidalee, but Tristana, hey.
That's the good pick right there. That's why I was expecting to see maybe a little bit more bot lane focus, even though Tristana is flexible. Good Sir or the Johns could easily play champion. Doesn't really indicate what is going to be UT style. We're expecting it to be for the Johns. That's kind of what we've been seeing more of Tristana. A lot less flexibility than she once was, but not quite like Lucian, where Lucian is just mid lane. Before, it was top, mid, sometimes bot. Now he's just mid lane only. Tristana has kind of gotten that route into mostly bot lane, but occasionally sneaks in mid.
And I like this Alistar pick as well. We're already getting a little deep into what's considered S-tier supports and denying getting Alistar while also denying that Alistar Tristana combination. I think it's just a nice double whammy there for Just Randoms. And now I'm curious. I think they can pretty comfortably pick their bot laner because pretty much for the reasons you said, it's most likely Trist bot, even if it's not Jinx. Really strong right now in the current patch, so it just doesn't hurt to grab that one as well, and that's a really good lane matchup for them so far.
The only problem is I'm not a huge fan of Alistar Jinx in a lane, just because I think that the safety that a Tahm Kench can provide, it's like a Thresh. Why you oftentimes see something like that into one of these weak side bot lanes, just to be able to keep them safe, so that way, if there's going to be that gank that comes in that you're expecting to happen, maybe a dive or two, Jinx is relatively safe. But the one thing I do like about having Alistar in a weak side lane is that when you want to be able to play around your jungler who eventually is going to show up into that bot lane, now you have something that can follow that up a lot easier.
And I like too that we're going to see this Galio again. We have a couple of flex options here exactly for UT Dallas, and it's nice because you don't give a whole lot away. Whether it's mid or support, I think Galio Trist is a fine lane, especially given you already know what Just Randoms are going for. Or maybe you think of something else. Karma is actually really strong on this patch as well, so it'd be really interesting to see an R5 Karma just to go into that mid lane. I think the healing and shields would actually just kind of be incredible with the comp UT Dallas have so far. But we're going to have to see. I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah, I was about to say, it would definitely work out because they already have the damage source coming in from that Nidalee. But I like this fan a bit more. Silas is something that I was thinking of over that Karma. And Silas is something that just fits in so many compositions that people just kind of forget about him until he starts becoming meta again. They're like, oh yeah, this champion is hard to kill as well as he is a menace. Like, everyone only focuses on his ult, but I think that it's so much more about him than just that makes him one of those high priorities.
I agree. In my opinion, Just Randoms taking that away actually, let me just, I have my sides flipped just a little bit more. I agree with you, Magical. Definitely a good pick overall. And I think having that in the mid lane would probably be tough, especially because who knows? I did say Just Randoms do need to grab themselves a global. If they do suspect that is going to be a Galio mid, Twisted Fate is available, making plays to the side lane. We would like a whole lot of that. Now, top lane. Looking like that's going to be the deciding factor, the end of these both of these teams' drafts. And I want to see what we are going to see. I just need UT Dallas to pick one of their side lanes, and okay, it's Sion.
Sion, and this is where Chim, please give it to us. Give us that set. Do it.
Yeah. Wait,
you
I would
will
love that.
win that top lane so hard if you lock that in right now. This is why I was even about to say, I don't think it matters if you choose something top lane. I don't think it matters if you blind pick top lane. If you have set on the table, that is something you could easily blind for yourself because you know Lunarly likes to play those tanks. But does Chim want to do that, or is it going to be the typical tank? That's going to be the real answer for us here.
Yeah.
If it's just going to be going back to something that works for the team fights, works for how they like to play as one unit, as opposed to being able to have something that can win in these side lanes and then be able to join in the fights as well.
We're getting baited by production. I'm not following it this time.
We're getting 100%.
We're just ignoring that. We don't talk about how it
like, but let's be honest. Set would work really well here. I would love set. The Aatrox,
I'm into it.
But I'm still hard on that set, man. Come on, give us the boss.
I know, especially when you have a champ like Sion who just keeps on stacking the HP. That showstopper just gets better and better and better and better. But we're on the same boat. But I'm gonna be real magical. I like Aatrox too, both in and out of lane. Into someone like Sion, you're going to out damage him. You're going to out heal his damage, as time goes on, and you have a lot of team fight options here. You have a handful of melees. The only people you have to really worry about when it comes with range is going to be that Tristana and I guess the Varus Qs. Yeah. So you can go for these flanks if you're Chim and get right on top of some of these carries.
The thing is, UT Dallas have definitely drafted themselves a siege composition here. They're looking to see if they can get either ahead in this mid game or be able to hold their own, so that way when it comes to playing around these objectives, it's going to be difficult to enter in, because unless you're willing to hard engage on them, they're going to whittle and poke you out all the time. You've got Nidalee Qs, you got piercing arrows. Even Tristana is going to have that range that you were just talking about. Plus, a Galio and Sion standing right in front of them like, try to get to them. I dare you to try to get through it. It's going to be on Chim with these flanks to really be able to set up these fights.
Positioning is going to be the name of the game for Just Random's top laner. And it's interesting because when we were on the desk, I talked about how I wanted to see UT Dallas go for this more of this just hard engage team fight composition, but it is more towards the poke, like you were just talking about, Magical. It looks like Just Randoms who are actually doing a little more of that front-to-back team fighting here. Either way, I see the concept UT Dallas are going for here. There is dive potential on the top side as well to pair with that Nidalee, so you got to imagine that's where we're going to see YHL put a lot of his attention in the early stages of the game. Just Randoms, we're looking at team fights, baby. 5v5s. Meet me at the pit after school at 3 o'clock during these neutral objective fights.
All right, I am just going to tell all amateur teams, though, please, in scrims, play more set for me.
Yeah, dude.
You can blind pick it. Tanks are coming back in the meta, my dudes. It's fine. Get set. He is so good into these tanks. And if you want something that can flank amazingly, Set's going to do that. He's going to do a lot of damage. Please, just believe me. This is coming from a guy casting LPL who got to see a lot of Set played and watch it destroy tanks. Please. I'm begging you.
I'm so jealous. That sounds like it was beautiful, man.
Oh, it's a lot of fun. And I'm hoping for more of that. Like, if you haven't been watching the playoffs for LPL, I definitely recommend
I gotta catch up.
But we're here for UPO. We gotta keep talking about this. And I kind of want to go into the topic that you were setting up, that Just Randomly drafted for themselves a pretty good team fight composition. But the problem for me is that how do they kind of get through early to be able to deny UTD to get to their point where it's just being able to set up these sieges? How do they make sure that they don't have to worry about that and they can actually have team fights?
So the thing is, early game, I think, is going to be a little bit of a struggle for Just Randoms. Tristana, mid lane, auto priority. Going to be hard for Josie to really contest in the early game when it comes to scuttle crabs and the like. So really, I think the thing you got to look for with Just Randoms is trading objectives and trying to set up what vision you can. You got to imagine, given the mid and bot matchup here, that Just Randoms aren't necessarily going to get the first dibs they're looking for, setting up vision and going for these neutrals. So I think tracking is going to be really important. And once they figure out, okay, it's going to be a dragon play at around 70 minutes, we're just going to rotate our bot lane up and we're going to set up for Rift Herald instead. Plus, I don't think that's such a bad idea as a whole, because if you go for that early Rift Herald instead, you do get yourself that little extra bit of plate gold, and we do love plate gold, especially because that's going to allow them to kind of accelerate their composition a little bit with that extra bit of gold.
Yeah, it will definitely help them, but I'm just worried that they only really have that strong lane top side for Chim, the Aatrox and the Scion. Because when you look mid lane, Good Sir on the Tristana up against Victor. Victor kind of needs to be able to stack up a little bit to be able to get his upgrades. Bot lane Varus into Jinx is one of those difficult lanes for Jinx to actually deal with just because of all the poke that you have.
Yeah, so and it's like I agree with the worry. I think the early game is going to have to be played quite well for Just Randoms just to kind of get out on top of it. And I think we're going to expect to see Josie play towards the top side for the very reason you mentioned, because Josie, again, pretty good for playing for his laners, excuse me. And I think at this point, especially because you might be able to contest top scuttle, but we're going to have to see how that one goes. I think overall, it's just going to be a full clear. Somebody's overextended. You might be able to make a play, but a reset into just yet another full clear. You want to get that level 6 ASAP and those tier 2 boots and a stopwatch for the Lilia, because that's when the plays start happening. That's when you can go into stasis, get the sleep, and really have an impact on some of these fights. Because once Lilia is level 6, by the way, also, Chim's going to be level 6 on this Aatrox, and we know what that means. Literally might get his world ended.
I have a bad feeling for Lunarly in that top lane. I have a couple of theories of what are about to happen into that top lane, just because Scion, Aatrox, not a good lane for Scion to begin with, and then you add a Lilia. It's really going to be onto Hukirili on this Nidalee to try to see if they can help out in the top lane at all. But you know what? The only way we're going to find that out is by jumping onto the Rift for game number 1. Just Randoms. University of Texas, Dallas, they are taking it on in this best of 3 matchup, as everyone is looking like they're going to go to the typical line of scrimmage.
No one's looking for any level 1 shenanigans. Like with this, I know. I'm sad about it too. But overall, I think the other thing to look for here is when you have a top laner like the Scion, who can, even though he's probably going to be under threat of dive because of the matchup into Aatrox, because of Josie and the way Just Randoms are going to play. I'm curious to see how UTD are going to be able to trade on the other ends of the map as well, because we talked about trading. The thing with Scion, we all know his passive.
Throw it.
We're doing it.
Throw it.
They're thinking about it.
Okay, throw it.
Josie knows, right?
He totally knows. He's got to know. But throw the spear. You miss 100% of the spears you don't throw. Come on.
You're not wrong, and it's looking like...
Boo!
Yeah, YHL is choosing to miss that spear.
Come on, man. You had it. I believed in you, but you failed me. But it doesn't matter. It wouldn't have really gotten them anything anyways. So they're just going to go back. It's going to be both junglers starting on the top half of the map, which means that we might see a rumble around that bot lane scuttle.
And that's going to be the interesting one, because the early priority, I think, is going to be a little tough for JR's bot lane to get here. And you can already see the poke coming through with the Johns. You got to imagine they are going to be able to start getting the push here and start aiming to get that early level 2. And I think that's going to be the big thing here. I like that headbutt, though.
Yeah, just trying to scare off the Johns, say that they want to be able to get that level 2 experience lead. That's really what bot lane's always about, right?
Oh, yeah.
Trying to see who's going to be the first to be able to get the level 2. That way you can take over the lane, you can push it in. Unfortunately, for Short Hop and Pocus, that's bad news. You're going up against a Varus, Galio bot lane. They're going to always win. That's why you already saw them kind of conceding that. Like, yeah, you know what? We tried a little bit. Didn't work out so well. You're going to be shoved in every time, poked out pretty well. Gem got a bad trade in that top lane from Lunarly. That is one thing to fear, is that even as Aatrox, you should be able to beat Scion later into the game. Early on, if he lands one of those decimating smashes onto you, that's a lot of damage.
Yeah, see, that's the big thing. As the game goes on, like you said, and one thing I want to highlight very quickly, too, on the bot side. So it doesn't seem like Just Randoms know where YHL is at the moment, because they haven't been able to get any deep wards. But, however, it seems like UTD, because of a ward from Good Sir and the prio he's gotten himself, they do have an idea on where Josie is. I do believe that is just deep enough to see the Raptors move. So they got to know that Josie is on that bottom side of the map here. And you can already see Tree Kangaroo on the move.
Look at this.
Level 2.
Competition.
Oh, he doesn't know.
He does, though. Look
he knows now.
Nice. I will say, nice read out of competition there. Realizing that Tree Kangaroo
Whoa.
not noticed on the map, so had to back out. But the Scuttle Crab, I talked about how there's going to be a little bit of a rumble around it. But there are 4 members on each side. TP's coming in from Lunarly. Does Chim try to reciprocate? They got to be careful. It's going to be the flash in. They have a lot of damage on a short hop. Has to flash away with the bombs on top of him. First Blood's going to go over to Good Sir with the jump over the wall, making sure there's nowhere to go. Just Random's wrong side of the map, trying to see if they can escape with the TP coming in from Chim, scaring away the members of UTD. But they've locked down Pocus. They've been able to take him out. Josie's on the other side of the wall, just getting a little bit of damage, but it's a 3v5. Damage into the backline. Look at Chim. Take them down one. They might be able to get more, but they have to flash away to be able to survive. The flash is coming in, trying to see if they can reciprocate.
Another auto?
They couldn't. It's going to be a turnaround coming in from Just Random. It is a 4-minute fight and brawl all across the map. The flash coming in from Lunarly, trying to escape, but just cannot get out of there. They've got him, even with the shield. They should be able to chase this down, but in the background, it's going to be the jungler trade in the backline for Hukuri, taking down Jazzy. So, wow. All in all, that is a 3 for 3, and we are not done. A TP in. I believe it's the John showing up, but right on top of the traps. Going to be the kill coming in from Hukuri. A Short Hop wants to trade it back. Going to be able to knock up that they need to with the Ignite and take down the kill and get excited for Short Hop. Right on top of Hukuri to double kill him.
What?
Woo! What a fight!
Okay, first of all, I'm gonna quickly praise your lungs there, Magical, and I'm gonna preface this by saying a lot of that really didn't need to happen. I think
not at all.
Like I talked about it. Just random. You don't fight for that bottom scuttle crab. As soon as you see YSL there, you just walk away. However, the teleports are committed. Just Randoms end up getting this gold lead as a result here. 2 kills on Chim, 2 kills on Short Hop. Well, we talked about it on the desk, and I talked about it in draft. Those are the 2 players for Just Randoms who you don't want any extra gold on. So even though YHL is going to get the double crab, this is a dub for JR.
Oh, 100%. And I will say, I figured there was going to be, a skirmish, right? I'm like,
shenanigans.
There'll be a little 2v2 fight, maybe a 3v3. I didn't expect to have a full team fight at 4 minutes into the game. And now, Lunarly, this is kind of what we expected for the Sports Ion at the top.
Yep.
Going to be put into the zombie form pretty easily. Give the kill over to Jazzy. I would have liked to see that onto Chim, but, it doesn't matter. Zombie dead. Now he's going to be able to clear out a little bit, but unfortunately, just not enough to be able to keep up with this Aatrox top.
Yeah, really unfortunate. No TP means he's just going to have to come back to lane the old-fashioned way and doesn't have that level 6
doesn't
either.
Even have the train, yeah. No teacher train to be able to get back into the lane.
Yeah, that's right. So everything going for Just Randoms at the moment here. Pockets might find something, but Good Sir is probably respecting the fact that he can't be walking around this jungle willy-nilly.
Look at the knock up. They need to. Change to. Stunned him up. No rocket jump. Finally. Going to be able to get that away to be able to survive. But now that he's been forced away, look at Jazzy. Look at Short Hop. They already had the inside track onto this Ocean Dragon, so they're going to be able to take the objective.
And here's the thing, Magical. You talked about it, and I agreed with you. The JR's early game was really the only question mark here for the draft that they laid out for themselves. Well, I think it's safe to say it's 7 minutes that the early game is going just fine for them, and that makes me really worried for UTD. YHL doing a little bit of counter jungling, and really that's all he can manage to get done here. Snag away this blue buff. No Rift Herald to trade for the dragon they just lost, and UTD are already on the back foot.
Unfortunately, they are 2,000 gold behind. We're only 7 minutes into the game.
That's crazy.
It is, and that was wildness that we saw there. But we're already at 10 kills in this game, 7 minutes into the game.
LPL would be proud.
The LPL would be very proud. I've seen a good mess of fights before, but I will say I haven't really seen one of those in a long time. A full 5v5 fight that lasts a solid minute.
Like I said, props to your lungs for keeping up throughout all of that here. And I like this Pockets on the move with Josie just to ensure that I think he's just having some fun, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing about Hex Flash, right? It's like if you want to, you can Hex Flash over the wall to be able to start off the fight, but you could also just wait it out, be like, all right, we don't have the inside track here. I'm just going to use it to get away instead. And it's only, what, a 10-second cooldown? But now, Lee found out Rocket going to be too wide, but it doesn't even need to be there. They already had the kill they needed to onto Nidalee, and they're trying to be able to take away this blue buff. Gifting that over to Jazzy would be nice, because they already got one for competition, and the Johns, Tree Kangaroo, I don't know if you want to stick around underneath the cert. You're not level 6 for the Johns to be able to get the Chain of Corruption to make that dive a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, this is really tough. Just randoms having most of their laners just move into UTD's jungle like that really just is unfortunate for YHL. It's gonna have to fight for every single jungle camp. You can already see a lead building up just purely in terms of farm there in favor of Josie, and now this is pretty tough as well. Chim has that level 7 unlocked, is really starting to come into that power we talked about, and is going to be on the better end of this matchup. So now you want to look to this early Rift Herald. You don't necessarily have that option anymore. UTD's best chance is still most likely playing to their mid lane. You have Good Sir on this Tristana, who is keeping up in farm, who is quite strong, has the Ignite. There's a play to be made here.
Yeah, but nothing going to happen to it. You know, I was just kind of looking at the player names, right? And whenever I cast, I always wonder, how did that player come up with that name? You know, like Good Sir. What made them decide they were Good Sir? The Johns, Tree Kangaroo, badass name. But it's just like, do you ever think of that? Like, how did that player come up with that name? What influenced them to think Tree Kangaroo?
I do wonder about that, honestly. Competition. Probably with his love of competition. And you say, but I think he's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I was a little worried, but you know what? Pocus is there. Gonna be able to get the chains done. No, actually having to back out of that one. Good search. Nearby, they've got the... Oh, no! No, Tree! I mean...
The zoom in of shame.
So unfortunate. And now, competition stunned up, locked down, double kill for Hukiri Lee.
Yeah, this is quite literally the best case scenario. You're going to get yourself that Rift Herald. Plates are still up and ripe for the taking as well. And like you said, YHL gets 2 kills. It is actually 4-2 at the moment, so has quite a decent bit of gold. I got to imagine that actually has more gold than Josie at the moment. Double buffs as well. Now, YHL can get a little more aggressive here. Wait a second.
Oh, the rocket didn't steal. Oh, it totally stole. It totally did. They've got the 2-man sleep and the Johns. They're trying to see if they can chase them down, but it's going to be a stun up. It's the kill coming in for Short Hop, chasing down Tree Kangaroo underneath the turret. They have the zap. Where's it going to come in to be able to get the slow they needed to? And then the Justice Punch body block, killing spree for Jim. Focus over the wall. Sees that Good Sir underneath the turret. Lock him down. And he does not want to let him go. Competition is nearby. Good Sir, he wants to be able to get the rocket jump underneath the turret. Now he's taking the turret. Focus gets the solo kill over Good Sir.
No, I think that was actually a pretty solid decision. You were dead there 11 times out of 10. So to give the kill to the support, I think is much better than the victor. But overall, this is quite a string of unluckies here for UTD, to say the least. This 2,000 gold lead is now ballooned up to 4,000. And at 11 minutes in the game, not going to lie, as my buddy Austin would say, just chalk it up.
This ain't looking so hot right now. They tried to go for the brawl at Scuttle Crab. The huddle didn't work, you know? It wasn't really what they wanted to have happen, and now they found themselves pretty severely in the hole. And with this kind of comp that they've drafted for themselves, they need to either be relatively even or slightly ahead. Whenever you have a siege composition with a lot of poke, you don't ever want to find yourself in the hole, because the whole idea is you're forcing your opponents underneath their turret. If you're behind, you're not going to be able to do that as easily.
Well, UTD, at least relatively easily, have managed to get...
I thought Short Hop stole that for sure.
Oh, wait a second.
Oh, no, rocket jump out. I thought for sure that the rocket stole that Rift Herald, I'll be honest.
Yeah, so did I. I
thought Jawsy had picked it up, but you know, it doesn't always work out that way. A nice call coming in from UTD. They put down the Rift Herald, get a couple plates for themselves. They get themselves their first dragon of the game, so it delays Just Random getting a potential soul and it being the Mountain Soul. It's a really difficult soul to be able to contend with when you are siege composition. They can always get these shields, and the John's Chain of Corruption flash away. They even have Tree Kangaroo showing up, but it's too late to be able to really help out with the sun on Tabacus underneath the turret. You can see how little damage they really have to be able to impact that Alistar.
So tough, and even though you don't get the Rift Herald for Just Randoms, you don't get that second dragon. Look at Short Hop just stacking the plate gold on the top side. I would love to see if the Observer could just press X on his keyboard and just give us a little insight. There it is. Thank you. 2,500 gold. Short Hop's pretty juiced. I'm just gonna say it.
He is. And that's a jinx. That's a jinx, man. You have a jinx this juiced? Oof. Yeah, that is not
That's
a
a
case
big
that
number.
you're
Oh,
seeing.
God,
Skyrocketing
yeah.
that even more. Oh man, this ain't
It is
pretty right now.
3,300.
Yep. Yep.
That is, yeah, this is.
Let's see what he buys now. Let's see what he got.
Oh, we got to switch back, though?
Oh, we got to switch back. There we go. Kraken Slayer completed. With the
Zeal.
and double daggers. Oof.
Not bad. Very
Not bad at
strong.
all.
The Johns struggling to finish item numero uno, which I imagine is probably. I'm not even gonna guess.
Well, it could
we'll
be
see what
Eclipse.
happens.
So,
Could be
okay, there's a
Eclipse.
couple different options. The fact that he's gone for Halo Blades would normally make me think that what he's going to build first is an Essence Reaver into the
Could be.
Manamune are kind of standard things that you see, and then
True.
after that you can go. There's a couple different options that you sometimes see. I think lately, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I do think that Trinity Force has kind of changed with how the Mythic passive is now. That it gives a little bit more movement speed, AD, and attack speed. It gives ability. Hey, sorry. It gives you all those things, which all work well for Varus. I think it's something that is a bit more.
It is it's definitely a possibility. I haven't seen many players explore it, but
well, because before it was Eclipse, and I don't think Eclipse is picked as often, especially with Hail Blades.
No.
And then the other option there is Gale Force, but I don't know if Gale Force is what he's going to go for in this game either.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm picking up what you're laying down.
Yeah,
I'm gonna lean more towards Kraken Slayer. I want to say, just because I think getting through Paucus and Chim is probably going to be really crucial here. I'm not saying Kraken Slayer first, but you could be right that it's going to be an Essence Reaver into Manamune.
Yeah, that's why I'm just kind of curious to see what the John ends up choosing here, just because when you're, if you actually look at Varus, he has slightly low range despite the fact that he has high poke from range too, which is really weird. But it's just one of those things where I'm never like the biggest fan of like Kraken Slayers, just because you're so worried about getting jumped on as Varus, and if you're worrying about attacking them from that close of range, it always makes it really difficult. But we'll have to keep an eye on that. I'd rather start focusing on everyone else because we got Gore Drinker, most mythic items, in fact, completed by Just Randoms, going for the Leandri's Anguish too, for Jazzy just to be able to burn a bit more through people like Lunarly and like Tree Kangaroo. Everything's looking pretty hot for Just Randoms at the moment, with UTD struggling to be able to get anybody besides Ukiri Lee onto Mythic.
Yeah, it's really tough scenes if you look across the board here for UTD, and it just really shows when we talk about the gold lead, by the way, which is up to 6,000 gold at this point at the 16-minute mark. It's tough. Second Rift Herald's coming through. We've barely seen any neutrals on the map, and JR are just running Summoner's Rift at the moment here. Every member of UTD can only humbly wait until members of Just Randoms shove the wave towards their tower, just as we're seeing Lunarly just await and then start farming here, because there isn't a whole lot they can do outside of play through YHL. But if you get into melee range of JR's composition as a Nidalee, what do you think is going to happen, Mr. Magical?
I think you're dead. I think you're dead. I don't think you're not dead. That's the problem here, right?
Yep.
Oh man, and looking at everyone else, you're still seeing these components. Gilly Leaf feels like you can walk out, but if that Swirl Seed does connect, you gotta imagine the moment that they get the.
Oh, you're pressing R.
Yeah, exactly. Especially on It doesn't matter anybody else. You're like, oh, Nidalee, haha, you dead.
Yep. And at this point, yeah, you afforded yourself that kind of freedom playing as Just Randoms at the moment. So strong, all this vision here. I like this. UTD need to make some kind of play happen here. Problem is they're on a ward. So can't quite get the death brush they're looking for. In fact,
not much damage
TP
coming in from Short Hop just yet onto Lunarly. It's going to be the TP from competition just to try to see if they can scare off the competition of UTD away from this pit. They want to be able to get themselves a second dragon. They've got them corralled pretty well into this tight corridor. They should be able to take the dragon down before the rest of UTD can show up into the fight, but they want to actually have the full-on fight. They've got Hukiri having to flash away to be able to survive. Damage onto Lunarly. Looking good, sir. Going to be able to get the shutdown. Drowsy, put him to sleep, and now the heroic entrance to make sure they split up the fight, but they've lost Hukiri. They're completely split, trying to get away. The Johns is chased down by Chim and finished off. Well, Tree Kangaroo, unfortunately, there is no escape for you. You have to try to see if you can climb a tree fast enough, but they got competition on the hunt, looking to see if they can get the flash in, knocked away from the blast cone. So there's no safety here, no way to be able to get away from the laser pointer of competition.
Oh, and this is so difficult. That was kind of... Wait, yeah, what am I looking at here?
What? What?
Oh, what was I looking at just now?
I think that was I think it was one of the guns of Short Hop.
Oh yeah, Short Hop did. Oh, so yeah, that I did think it was a Star Guardian looking gun.
Right.
So that actually makes a lot of sense.
I think it was the gun stuck in there. Oh, okay, good sir died. I'm still baffled on what we saw. Why was the gun there? This is the mystery that needs to be solved.
I have the
Jinkies,
answer
gang.
for you. The answer is as you pull off the mask, spaghetti code.
Nah, I feel like there's something more here. But right now, Jim is trying to see if he can get something. Getting a lot of damage coming in, but it's going to be the Gorge Drinker that turns around onto Hukiri. It is the trade, though. Short Hop being dead means that they have lost out on any potential. Try to see if they can turn it around. Maybe even scare off the Johns.
Lullaby almost up.
No, it's not up just yet, though. It should be able to. Yeah, just in time. The passive time's out, so not going to be able to use that.
Okay, but they do have the... Okay.
Back to the mystery.
Of course. The why did we see the gun mid-air?
The thing is, I think Short Hop had respawned by then. No, because Short Hop died, and so I think he respawned by then. But why did we see it randomly just hovering there?
Yeah, is there a way to get a replay on specifically that?
Yeah,
that would be great.
Just that. Just
nothing else. We are just finding out that is not an option, and audience, I am gutted just as much as you are, and I know you are too, Magical.
We're gonna have to get the tapes. We're gonna have to get the tapes. We're gonna have to get the tapes back, people.
Okay, we're gonna have to run it back. I'll leave it to you, J2.
Yeah, it's gonna be the conspiracy theories. All right, let's get back into this game though. So right now, we still see a pretty big lead for Just Randoms. Not quite that 6,000. It has been shortened up just a little bit, but 5,000 at 20 minutes is still big. Having full control, going to be able to take that turret pretty easily. Good sir, even realizing that he can't really fight Chim, plus having no idea where competition is. I think that was a wise call, forfeiting that, say, yeah, I'd rather not die, because if I'm dead, that means immediately they're going to turn towards that Baron, even if it's only a 4v5 with the jungler up. They have so much zone control on the side of Just Randoms that UTD really can't afford to fight anything 4v5.
And the thing that's so tough, too, for UTD is I think the parameters of their comp was already a little difficult for them to play, especially with this Nidalee. You got to land a lot of this poke before you actually get in there and make things happen. But now that Just Randoms are so far ahead, even though that's your only option for UTD, they just can't do it. Like, you walk anywhere near Paucus and Josie, like, you're done. It's lights out. It's over.
So the Johns did go for Duskblade.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how I feel. I don't know how I feel with having
attack speed and lethality. Yes, yeah. I'm pretty with you on that one. I feel like that does feel
go
like
that
more
go Arcane
bar.
Comet or Electrocute at that point.
Oh, I'd love Electrocute. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I the Comet is the more likely option whenever you go for lethality. But still, just something to be able to make that poke really hit and not be more reliant on you being within close range to actually use your keystone, right?
Good sir, he's looking for
something.
something.
You're waiting for this. You're waiting
yeah,
for
I am.
It's a double trap, though. Oh no, good sir. Buster shot. When's it gonna be used? Oh
Look,
man,
ignite!
he gets it before Josie's able to show up. Pockets on the flank, looking for the double knockup. Gonna be able to get it. Put him to sleep. Burn him alive. Try to escape, and he is able to get out of there with one more slap down to the Prance as well. Ukiri wants to fight back. The choo-choo train's gonna be able to get the knockback onto Lunar Lee as well. But unfortunately, Ukiri Lee had completely bailed on the fight, leaving the zombie out to dry. Unfortunately, he's gonna resurrect with nobody around to be able to help him.
And that is so rough with the dragon spawning in 10 seconds. You know, Just Random are going to... Oh, wait a second.
Oh, he's still alive. He was able to get over the wall. The damage from the double poke. Ukiri and the Johns, but now they are getting chased down. It's going to be the Darkened Blade, the flash over the wall. Ukiri, wrong side of the fight to try to be able to escape from this one. Wants to be able to get out of there, but Johns is just going to pop that while they're able to get the kill onto the Johns on the other side, so that way it's going to be the third dragon secured by Just Randoms, unless, of course, Ukiri Lee can pull off a miracle.
Could be what they're looking for, actually. Instead, it's Chim.
Oh, Pocus! Hocus Pocus! Make him focus that he is dead in the dirt, and there it is. Going to be the third dragon, now secured by Just Randoms.
Yeah, and at this point, you're so strong, you could just walk up and start the Baron. There's nothing stopping you, especially not the likes of UTD here. And they are magical. I'm gonna be real with you. It's pretty doomed.
Yeah, it is pretty doomed. This ain't looking so good right now, you know. It was
so good, Mr.
maybe
Stark.
within range. Like you could tell that there were some parts that
Saw
kind of worked. The double poke, I was talking about that, but now you're just getting these picks on the other sides of the map where Lunarly he's just not tanky enough. He's gone for the armor to try to be able to deal with Chim. That means competition. He goes near him and he's immediately fried. He's got no way to really survive against that. This jungle control coming in from just randoms. UTD can't go on to either side of their jungle and feel safe. And look at this. There's going to be the turnaround fight coming in from just randoms. Good Sir has a flank though on a short hop. Getting a little bit of damage. Looking for the explosive charge. Takes him down.
Whoa!
Now they've got a lot of damage coming back in, but Good Sir's going to be able to get away. Trying to be able to get away. Chim, got to be careful. Johns was able to get him to flash away, but Josie goes golden to be able to survive. Unfortunately, he might die the moment he respawns and is shut down by Tree Kangaroo.
I think just randoms needs to be more careful with some of these fights here, because even though they're so far ahead, you look at Good Sir, who is incredibly strong right now with even 5, 3, and 4 really strong on this Tristana. And I think if you keep giving Good Sir kills and you keep messing up some of these skirmishes, it's going to take quite a handful. But UTD, if they end up securing themselves a Baron, that's all of a sudden a lot of extra gold in their pockets. Most of Just Random's towers are still up and available, so that is a lot of free, easy gold if we go down that road.
Yeah. So they can get back into this game. They can utilize Good Sir to be able to get that gold back in their pockets, but you can see how afraid he is to even go near that tier 1 turret in the top lane.
Yeah.
There's no control. Look at their vision. Where is all their vision? It's in their own jungle. They don't have any in even the river.
And that's the hard part. When you're so far behind, you have to spend so much of your focus making sure you can even live in your own jungle here. We are seeing YHL now really falling behind in terms of XP too. So this is very difficult. No, just random. They can start off Baron whenever they want.
And guess what? Jawsy has been full build for quite some time.
That's right.
Zonia's completed already, so
that's right.
We all know that that's all Lilia really needs. That and like maybe 2 more stopwatches just in case. It's Good Sir. Didn't I talk about how he's not safe going anywhere further?
Did.
And look what happens. That's what happens when you go out.
The thing is that what I don't even think you realized the time you said it. You said the tier 1, but I think you meant the base. As in, Good Sir can't be outside of his base anymore.
That is true. That is very true. And with no vision, no control, they're
Not
trying to
allowed.
see if they can make a play on a short hop, but he's able to get away from that one, literally realizing that as well. Had to cancel the choo-choo train a bit early, so they back out of this one. And the lanes are starting to push in. They're starting to get harassed on all sides. Bot lane push all the way up to their inhibitor turret, which means more control for Just Randoms, and UTD scrambling to be able to fight back. A poke composition like this does not deal well within their own base.
No, not quite. And UTD are just losing towers by the minute at this point here. I'm kind of surprised Just Random aren't just looking to fight at literally any point in the game here. The Johns, unfortunately, isn't at relevant strength at the moment. You look at 2 items, Duskblade, Muramana, but look at this Jinx. Look at Short Hop. That's 3 items. The Bloodthirster has that lifesteal to sustain in some of these fights. Just Randoms, if they see an opportunity, I think they should just go for it, and then they can secure themselves the Baron, start taking in-hams. We can start looking at game 2. We're almost at 30 minutes.
Yeah, we are. We're about to get there. I feel like the next fight that Just Randoms win, pretty much going to be the game. They are about to get themselves a soul point, which means that they can start forcing UTD towards them. Baron's up as well, which means they can start forcing UTD into them. And we already discussed that Just Randoms have great zone control.
We're potentially seeing that now. Here it is. Just Randoms are starting to fish for a bit of a fight here, as Lunarly is looking for the flank, but has unfortunately denied it. Yeah, at this point, it's hard. You need to catch someone out of position here. Just Randoms need to make quite the crucial mistake to actually lose a team fight at this point. So now, as this next and potentially most likely Soul Dragon comes through, UTD have to make a decision.
Double knock-up. Hukiri Lee is one of them. Has the Dream Particles on top. Has to be able to jump away to make sure not gonna have the Eternal Chains pull him back in. Again, though, they have the passive on Hukiri Lee, and that's the one with most of the damage. That and Good Sir. I feel like that's the only reason that Jawsy didn't pull the trigger there is because they want to be able to get a twofer. They don't want just Hukiri Lee.
Yeah, and UTD making the real tough call to just give up on the dragon. I like this. They're going for the trade. Yeah, they're going for it.
But they're not going to be able to get there in time. They needed a
Yep,
full
blue
commit
ward.
at that point. They needed to go immediately. Even with the blue trinket, you had to pull the trigger. You had to have no fear. Put all the marbles into that one, because
Yeah.
what did you gain? You got nothing. A little bit of vision while they're pushing up mid with a bunch of minions to be able to take down the tier 2 mid?
I mean, they're going to look for that inhibitor turret. You got to imagine.
You
Wave
got
is
Jinx.
decent enough. Jinx is excited.
Right.
What is Tree Kangaroo supposed to do
Oh,
on his
no.
own here? And it's looking like it's a whole lot of nothing. Just Randoms might look to end the
Exactly.
game.
They traded a tier 1 top lane for 2 turrets and an inhibitor mid lane. They have the flank coming in from Lunarly, but the flash is a way to be able to keep them alive with Pocus in the middle of everybody, trying to be able to get the knockup. But Tree Kangaroo, doing his
big
best to finally
sleep!
dodge. Huge sleep, and that is going to blow them all up with the rocket as well, jumping on top of Lunarly to make sure that he's going to be a zombie once more, godlike Chim. They've already chased down Hikari. There's only Good Sir now remaining. The zombie is gone, and that is going to be the game picked up by Just Randoms here. 29 minutes into the game with Good Sir trying to see if maybe, just maybe, they can hold out hope. But we all know that it's the first game of this best of 3 going over to Just Randoms, and they want to pad the KDA, but they couldn't get it that time.
Just Randoms off the back of a very strong, albeit chaotic early game, do manage to bring it out and stay out on top here. Getting that 2K early gold, well, in 5 minutes is it's pretty useful, Magical. Fun fact, that's a lot of gold to be able to get on some of your carries there for Just Randoms. And I am still sitting here just wondering to myself, why did we fight for that bottom Scuttle Crab? Why did we throw everything in the kitchen sink at that Scuttle Crab? What did he do? He's just walking around, man. Leave him alone.
Well, I mean, so I know on the Academy and the LCS stream the other day for Proving Grounds, I believe it was Will was mentioning, like, do the people on Runeterra eat scuttle crabs? And my argument is yes, they do. They 100% eat scuttle crabs because in Valorant they actually have a scuttle crab ramen shop. They 100%
I know what you're talking about.
eat scuttle crabs. That's like, it is canon that they 100% eat scuttle crabs. And so they were just hungry. That's all it is.
Well, they were hungry for victory as well, as again, they ended up getting, it took longer than it should, but still a commanding victory in that early game. It just got to a point where they were too big. Team comp parameters did not apply to them anymore. They could play however they pleased, and we saw that in a lot of those engages, that's for sure.
Exactly. It was one of those things that I feel like for that game, you played into the hands of Just Randoms, right? From moment one. You're a poke comp, a siege comp that wants to be able to keep the game kind of even, and you played a team fight comp and a team fight at minute 4. It just it's not what you want to do as that competition. Hopefully UTD can kind of figure out those mistakes, go into the next game, not have a 4-minute fight unless they have a composition that is able to really exploit that. But we're going to toss a break. When we come back, the desk will break down that game a bit further, so stick around.
Welcome back, everybody, to the UPL Spring Analyst Desk here after game number 1, which was a phenomenal success for Just Randoms over their opponents on UT Dallas. We have plenty to talk about among everybody else, but the most important thing, of course, poor Beatdown's voice is worn out a little, but thankfully we have the president of the Color Yellow fan club and resident pineapple pizza enthusiast Night Star here. Man, I know you weren't around for for first game very much. How you feeling right now? How you feeling about the summary we were able to give to you?
I mean, all I did was watch the first 5 minutes, and I think I got the gist of what happened in that game. And, you know, at the very least, my job was made pretty easy.
I think it is. And in fact, actually, I think, OP, you had the perfect way of summarizing. So I'm going to give you the honor of describing to all of our lovely fans out there exactly what it is that just describe the game for us. Give us like a sentence summary or something like that.
Yeah, so they were playing League of Legends for 5 minutes and they just decided to play Call of Duty afterwards. Everything else was like team deathmatch, and it was great. Burger flipping here in NA is still alive and well. So
it was entertaining to say the least. A minute and a half fight at 3 minutes into the game isn't always what we're expecting to have happen, but here we are, where it seemed like I know you were mentioning to me at least that UT Dallas had maybe prepped for that, having the teleport come in early. They looked like they wanted the aggression, but somehow Just Randoms came out with the far superior fight to start. The wave management was ruined, and everything kind of just went awry from that point. So I guess coming into game 2 now, OP, because you've had the opportunity to talk about UT Dallas at least a fair amount to this point. What is it that they're fixing exactly? We weren't big fans of the composition. Obviously, the level 3 was sloppy. Is there anything else really that you would really want to hammer down for this team to make sure that they're able to stay competitive this game?
I think basically like you can just either go to a more simple to execute composition with easier trigger pulls or something like that, or if you do, because it seemed like it was prep from like the teleport and everything like that they had, just kind of stick and don't overreach on stuff. It seems like they would get ways back in, like what we saw near the Rift Herald where they caught out 2 people right there, and then they kind of kept their hand in the cookie jar. But then they got smacked around a little bit afterward with some of the wallets that were built up in that first 3 minutes.
Yeah, and Nightstar, our resident expert on OMG and all things OMG for that regard. What are your thoughts on Just Randoms? I know you didn't get much of a chance to see the beginning of that game, but they had a very dominant start to the series, were able to wrap it up rather quickly. Is there anything you see in terms of improvement or something you want to see kind of carry over into game number 2, specifically about their play that you think could make a massive difference?
Yeah, I mean, draft-wise, the composition made a lot of sense. It had a lot of team fights, so I imagine they were able to really play more towards that. But I mean, I'd like to see more team fighting for objectives rather than just kind of see champion, kill champion. Just a little bit more discipline makes a lot more sense when, of course, you are playing a 5v5 comp, and if you end up getting caught out, perhaps some of those coin flips just don't work, then all of a sudden you've got a game on your hands because of just how good the Varus is into that composition.
Potentially. Being able to see the Nilly and Varus into better action and not falling behind 30 CS and 15 kills or whatever it is to start the game. We do have a swap of sides, which I want to just poke both of your brains about really quickly here. UT Dallas opting for blue side. OP, we talked in the first game about how, okay, why ban the Hecarim? Why not trade off for the Lilia? Now they get their chance maybe at taking that Hecarim themselves. So, do you like that better? Do you think that that's going to fit YHL's style a bit better, help the team out to some extent?
I mean, yeah, they saw success on it last week versus Bay State. I think also it's just a stronger, better champion that has more avenues and options to play. For sure. So that's what I'm expecting with them on blue side. Now they will be giving away like some of their counter picks that they were saving for like either Lunarly in the top lane, or what they saw like flexing this Tristana to Good Sir on the last pick with the Varus. So maybe they still have Tristana priority, but I really think that for success to happen for UTD and to push it to game 3, that they should look to get a YHL more powerhouse jungle pick.
Okay. Now, given what you saw in the previous game, Nightstar, also given the fact that you had that early game flip and a lot of fighting that had come through, if they were to come into a 5-minute game, or my apologies, like a 30, 40-minute game, go on to 5 items, something like that between the two squads, do you think UT Dallas is capable of taking that pure 5-on-5? We know that that's what succeeded for them in week number 1, something very standard for them. Or is it the fighting that's there from the side of Just Randoms that is just going to be superior even if they get to that point?
Yeah, I mean, I think so much depends on the draft, right? Where if UT Dallas, they don't kind of pivot their draft mentality and go back to what worked for them in the previous week, they definitely could be in trouble. But perhaps you get better lane setup for your jungler. That would help a lot as well, because in this game, we saw the Nidalee, but there was just no way for the Nidalee to really reliably get ahead. Yes, you had some CC in that bot lane, but that was really all it. You don't have a whole lot in that top side with the Sion, unless you were actively camping for Sion. And in that mid lane, it was just doomed to start.
Yeah. One more quick question for you, Mr. Nightstar. Cinder's a bad champion, right? I'm glad you agree as well. Thank you very much for your input on that very important question that we also got that from OP. Thankfully, we're going to get the opportunity to jump into draft here very quickly. We're going to take a short drive back to Mad Boulevard, as Mad Magical and Boulevard are absolutely on the other side of this one. Take it away, boys.
Welcome back into the caster's desk, and before we get started getting ready for game 2, you know, I couldn't help but get distracted by what was in the background of everyone on the analyst desk. And then I realized that Beatdown beats everyone every time, because if you just look at his background, it is like, that is yours and Will's are like the optimal backgrounds. I got this mostly because I'm in my garage. It's like, it's not really that exciting behind here, but you got like the VHSs up there. You got all like your awesome art there for all the different animes and different shows. I think I see something for Korra up there as well.
You do?
Yes, right. I do. Oh man, look at me, big brain over here.
Yeah,
but you see, I just gotta say, it's like I was just looking at that one. Yes.
Thank you. You know what? One thing I did not expect was the fact that when I started casting, because I've had this wall that I've been collecting for a long time, right? I was not expecting it to be so useful as a really great backsplash, because now it makes me feel a lot better about the amount of money I spent on all the posters, Magical, because it's a number. I'll tell you that.
You know what? I respect it. I respect
Thank you.
for sure. And I respect Just Randoms for picking up game 1 and that interesting battle there around 4 minutes where we saw a near ace and then a bunch of TPs for whatever reason, but it allowed them to have that early lead they needed to with their composition, with what they drafted. They drafted for the team fight capabilities, and who would have thought that at 4 minutes an actual team fight would have broken out? But you know what? That happened. They gave an early lead to Just Randoms, and they really just didn't relent the entire time.
Yeah, clearly Just Random's brains are far wrinklier than we could have ever imagined, Magical, because they say, why do we have to team fight at 15 minutes? We're going to team fight at 4. What? And I mean, they won the team fight when realistically they didn't necessarily have any business coming. Okay, no one really won per se. A lot of people died. A lot of some of the viewers were used. The viewers won, and I think in a way you do too, because I think in some like twisted way you love to just like really push yourself on some of those extremely long team fights.
I do. I have a lot of fun with that.
There it is.
People always wonder like how I breathe, and the secret is I have gills, and that's actually what it is. But you know, we're getting into game 2 here, and I want to see. Okay, I said this last time, and I hope the teams were listening. Set. I want to see set. Like this is not me memeing. This is actually like a good pick right now.
It's a good
that
champion.
More people need to start picking up. Where I talked about how Zoom, especially over in the LPL, he's playing that a lot for JDG, especially into any tanks. And if you're worrying about like a tank player such as Lunarly, Jim, this is an excellent time. Or the opposite. Lunarly, you can grab that for yourself and try to exert a little bit of strength in that top lane.
I think either way would make me very happy. Once again, I would like to inform everyone, I'm not biased. This is completely objective, unequivocal analysis that Set is a good champion, and I think he should be played in this game. It would be so nice. And now we're going to see, speaking of nice, what UT Dallas are going to be able to draft themselves. We have a side swap coming through, as you can see on your screen. UT Dallas are on the blue side now, and now big thing to look for is I'm glad you're writing that down.
Oh, I always write down all the notes. That's like,
Okay.
I always write down champ select so that when I'm in
Okay, fair-
game, I know
fair enough.
exactly the order that happens on everything. That's the whole notebook full of just all the different games. It's like, I could just turn to a different page. You can see champion selects. It's how I remember.
Your notes. Fair enough. Not everyone can have a fantastic, perfect memory like myself, so I get it.
Well,
and
you
I
got that
appreciate
super
it.
wrinkly brain. See,
I do.
My problem
I
is
do.
that one time I had an iron, and I actually
Oh,
was
no.
like ironing out the wrinkles. I didn't realize that, and so what I did was I then jumped into the pool for a couple hours to get the wrinkles back. Wait, what are you? This is like ironing out the wrinkles. Have people not heard of that? And then jumping into the pool like swimming.
I just wasn't prepared.
What? No, I ironed out the wrinkles. Okay, Hyper's not getting the joke. I ironed out the wrinkles, and then because I accidentally ironed them out, I then went for a swim to get all wrinkly again.
Yeah. Fun fact for Hyper and everybody
Hyper over
watching
here.
at home: when things get wet, clothes specifically, they get wrinkly. And in this case, Magical was applying that logic to his brain. Oh, that's
Hyper
a free
over
wrinkle for you.
here,
Keep the change.
Yeah, Hyper over here just. He's got the smoothest brain here.
Oh,
Clearly that's what it is. Yeah, exactly.
Ooh.
Getting threatened to get muted by the producer. Anyways, enough.
Oh my God, they actually muted him. We lost. Okay, I don't know. Okay, Magical's muted. I think he's gonna write down a message. Oh, he's not muted. Okay.
Hey, we're getting back on track. We're getting back on track here. We got 3 jungle bands. We have Thresh band, and this makes me wonder what UTD are going to first pick for themselves. Are they trying to see if they want to go for maybe grabbing Alistar, Rel, both available for themselves that were left open last time? Volibear. Volibear was the next one I was about to say that they could easily grab for themselves, and it has that flexibility. Lunarly can play that, or Ukiri Lee can also play that.
That's right. Honestly, I would like to see that go towards the jungle just because of how strong Volibear actually becomes in the jungle. Can still farm quite well, but also has a lot of that early gank pressure here on the side of UTD. Oh my God. Is it the Lee Sin? Josie out here playing for...
Let's go.
He's just flexing. I'm going to say
Let's go, baby. It's been a while since we've seen a lot of Lee Sin, especially this meta, just not been too kind for him. But the thing I like about seeing Lee Sin, and this is why I'm a bit surprised that we don't see him more often, is that he is really good in the early game. If you're able to outpace and try to keep up and look for those ganks, well, that's your way to be able to get ahead. Unfortunately, that is something else with jungling, is power farming has been so viable, trying to be able to get a little bit more items under your belt, so that way when you're a part of team fights or skirmishes, you're going to be able to have a lot more oomph to back it up.
Well, we're going to see. They do get the Rel, so that is a little bit of oomph for those team fights. And I'm curious to see, okay, we got the Kaisa for UT Dallas. Makes sense. Really strong AD carry still currently for I don't know how many patches in a row. And you got to imagine we see a support here on 3i. Alistar, please make it so.
Probably.
I mean, really nice.
It's a Rel Alistar kind of combination. Neither of them really counter one another. It's more of the skill matchup. Really, what they do is deny the other from being able to engage.
Which is, I mean, if you're just trying to farm up in the lane, especially when Kaisa, you're perfectly happy farming into the later stages of the game where she becomes, quite honestly, insufferable. So it works out for them. Just randoms actually seeming to hold on to the AD pick, but picking the Silas this early, even though I agree with you, he's pretty good, Magical. I don't like it because now I
don't like it this early. I agree with you.
Now UT Dallas can just start banning out ADCs realistically, and there are some strong, good answers into Kaisa that can now be taken off the board. And I want to see UT Dallas focus their bans there.
Well, this is what I'm wondering, is what exactly do you want to take away from short?
Xayah.
Xayah is
Jinx,
that you can take
probably.
away Jinx, but Varus also does well in Kaisa too. There are more than just the 2 options available that they can easily grab for themselves and then hold off for that blind pick where Silas technically could go top lane for Chim. We're expecting it to be for competition, but you still have that option of what you want to be able to do for flex. So as UTD take away the ADCs, we have to keep in mind that there is still, whatever that third option is, if it's not Jinx or Xayah, there's Varus. One of those 3 getting through is going to be what just randoms grab for themselves.
Very possible here. For a second, I thought Tristana wasn't banned, which would honestly shatter my brain, but it was. So everything's cool. All the things all that's left rather is to see that Camille ban for just randoms on the top side. So it does seem like mid and top are their goals here, just to give their solo laners a bit of a better matchup there. And UT Dallas, this is kind of the moment of truth here. You got to imagine it's another ADC ban. Which one is it going to be? My money's on Xayah.
I would think the Xayah too. Varus is, I think, good into Kai'Sa, but
yeah.
Xayah's great into. Ooh,
oh, yep. That's not
Vayne.
bad.
Okay, Vayne's definitely good, but it should be Xayah locked in here. I think the Varus is more like that third string that you kind of go for because it's like, what else do you have? But I do like that with that Vayne pick because I kind of forgot. I always forget about Vayne and how good she does into something like Kai'Sa. I feel like the Xayah would be a really good pick for short hop here.
I would like it too, and it seems like they're just hovering at the moment, aren't quite sure. Yeah, I'd like Xayah as well, and okay, we are going to see it. Yep, Lane's well in the kind of stuff we've seen all before. It's that handshake kind of lane, and in some instances, you can actually get yourself early priority with that champion, and that could work out really well for Josie, who's playing this Lee Sin again. I must remind everybody who through late prio is most likely going to be able to look for the early scuttle crabs, try to build XP leads, and go for the invades crucially, because even if it's a Volibear who is decently strong early, the stats quite are not there yet for the bear, and that is something Josie's looking to take advantage of.
So now here is going to be the moment of truth. Where does Volibear go? Is it going to be the jungle? Is it going to be the top lane? Jungle. I honestly think that it should be the jungle here. You don't want to really have blind Volibear top lane. It's just
set jungle.
So easy.
Aww.
Set jungle would be fun. But
I love the jungle.
The Renekton pick here makes a lot more sense. Put Volibear into the jungle for Kitty Lee. Try to see if you can be able to keep up with something like Lee Sin. Though I will say that is going to be the difficult task. Is that you have something that is going to be really difficult to. Yeah, I was say it's also not the best into a Renekton. While I like Set into Renekton, not so much. It's more like when you know it's going to be a tank. That's what you want to be able to grab for yourself. Vel'Koz though, so it's going to be Silas top.
Yeah, I had my suspicions with that Camille ban, funny enough, but so it does seem like it is going to be the Silas in the top lane, and that's nice. You do end up getting yourselves all the double counter there in your solo lanes, so I think this plays out really well for just randoms, but the big question mark is still this jungle pick for Josie. When you pick someone like Lee Sin, you put yourself on a clock. And that's something I and other color casters say from time to time. But when I say a clock, I mean a very strict and short clock when you're playing Lee Sin. I'm talking like 15 minutes. If you don't have a hilarious amount of gold, you're going to run into some problems because Volibear, as time goes on, it's only going to get tankier, only going to do more damage, only going to sustain that much more, and it's going to be such a big threat come these actual skirmishes, because if we are talking team fights, my money's on UT Dallas.
Right, and that's the whole idea with Lee Sin. If he's not able to get ahead early, he becomes a kick bot, right? Your only purpose really is to serve as someone who can either catch out an ADC or peel for your ADC. With the Xayah, it's not as necessary. You have more options to be able to dive back in, but you really are the one who has to set the tone and the pace of this early game for just randoms. Because if you don't, UT Dallas have great options of being able to set up 1-3-1s if they want to for themselves, plus having scaling options in both Ryze and Kai'Sa to be able to annihilate Lee Sin before he's even able to touch them.
Yeah, and that's going to be the thing here. For the early game, just randoms, it is crucial. Do or die. And the thing is, they do have some things going for them. You got to imagine they're going to be able to grab themselves priority in some of these lanes. Definitely mid, most likely top. And if level 1 is played right, even bot as well. So all of this prio can be usable here for Josie. But that's going to be the big thing. Again, this does feel like a flex from just randoms jungler. But Lee Sin players, so I'm not going to complain.
The thing is, it's like, Lee Sin is fun to watch when he's not in the meta. Because when he's in the meta, it's the same thing over and over again, right? It's like, okay,
flash kick.
Yeah, it's like, but when he's not in the meta, it's always fun to watch. You're like, yeah, let's go, let's get him. It's like Udyr. I like watching Udyr when he's not in the meta. Because then you have the fun flash bear slap, you have runstone job done. But now that he's dominating the meta, you're kind of like, all right. Well, they are.
And then Phoenix stance. Wow, so cool.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. But anyways,
Wow.
looking at the compositions, I kind of want to break down the compositions a bit before we get in.
All right.
We kind of set up that there's going to be the 1-3-1 that UT Dallas can set up for themselves. But just randoms, even though we were talking about how Jazzy is going to be really dependent on this early game to be able to set the tone, it feels like they have some good options to be able to play around these objectives, right? You have really good wave clear from Vel'Koz, plus you have good initiation tools out of Rel and Lee Sin with the Silas to add into those flanks, that in skirmishes, this is going to be where they shine.
So the thing I find interesting is, though I agree, you definitely give yourself that 1-3-1 option on the side of UT Dallas, but I don't think that's actually something they should play towards. I think they should lean towards their team fighting strengths. I think you play the early laning phase about as cautiously as you can be. You don't have to do a whole lot. Just don't let Lee Sin get kills. Don't let him get this lead. And as time goes on, you can play the 5v5. Of course, you have Lunarly on the Renekton being able to threaten the split and make plays off of flanks like we've seen him do before. But my point being, like, you play for the 5v5 is the way I see it. If you play for skirmishes, we saw it in game 1. That's going to end up favoring just randoms. And if we look at 3v3 in the mid lane, that also goes for just randoms, in my opinion. Someone like Vel'Koz and Xayah, they would love for you to approach them. They would rail at it.
It's the JoJo's thing. Ho ho.
Yeah, I wanted to.
Me.
That's right.
I was like, I'll be honest, I didn't watch JoJo's. I couldn't really get into it, and I know that's gonna be that's a sin amongst a lot of other weebs.
You know what, Magical? I'm gonna tell you how much that hurts me.
But the thing is, I love the memes
right
out of
there,
them.
man.
I know. But the thing is, I couldn't get into it personally. I couldn't personally get into it, but I respect people who are into it because the memes are fantastic.
Thank you.
And I am a meme person. But you know what? I do want to kind of dive in a bit more.
Yes, of course.
Randoms, just because you set up a good narrative with UTD that they do have really good 5v5s. And it's like I'm glad you kind of set that up because 1-3-1 is an option for them. But it's like their straight up team fight's great. The disengage of just randoms is going to be hard for them to deal with because Xayah self-peel. But this is where I talked about Jazzy on that Lee Sin being able to kick people away. That can help them out. So as we dive onto the Rift for Game 2's swaps sides for each team, it's going to be curious to see how Just Randoms are going to be able to pilot this Lee Sin early, or if they might just wait it out and make him a kick bot.
I really hope they don't do the latter. So I got to imagine it's going to be all early game here, and all eyes are on Josie. In my opinion, this is going to be a big deciding factor for this game, and realistically, the series as a whole, to see whether or not Just Randoms can actually close things out here with this pick. Josie is running the Muay Thai Lee Sin skin, so that's already 5 extra points for him from me personally.
That's a good
big
skin.
fan. Yeah, it is a really good skin.
So for a long time, I'm just going to talk about skins because, it's fun.
Okay.
Blitzcrank. The best skin was definitely not Blitzcrank. Until this Space Groove Blitz and Crank skin. And I will say, bravo. You finally made a skin that tops definitely not Blitzcrank, but just barely. Both of those skins are fantastic, but those are the only 2 skins you use for that champ.
I could not agree more with you, Magical. There's
Our
not a single
wrong.
other
He
choice.
said
Yeah,
right, Blitzcrank. No, that's just wrong.
incorrect. I'm a big fan of all the definitely not skins, simply because you just sit in champ select like, hey, what champ you playing, by the way? I don't know, but it's definitely not Blitzcrank.
Exactly. That's same with Vel'Koz.
I
do like the Battlecast one. It's like definitely not Vel'Koz's superior. I will say I love the Space Groove skins. They are very cool. I keep making the meme of it's just Space Dandy. It's the crossover for Riot and Space Dandy. Because that's what they all look like to me. They remind me of that.
Is it not the crossover you wanted?
It's definitely the crossover I wanted. What do you mean? Like, have you watched Space Dandy? That is a.
I haven't. I know I'm trolling.
It's
stellar.
It is. If I say JoJo has good memes and I can respect it, you got to understand that Space Dandy somehow tops that in their memes.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's also very short. It's only like 6 episodes.
That actually makes it more likely that I will watch it. So
right, it's like Fully Cooley in my mind. It's like sometimes the shorter ones are the better ones. Fully Cooley in my mind is the best anime of all time. But we're not going to talk about we're not going to get into our weebness here. We're going to talk about League of Legends instead because right now
you're right.
We see that literally it's gotten a little bit of a good shove into Jim. try to take over, and they might actually try to see if they can set up an early dive onto the Silas with Ukiri nearby. Cannon is going to be crashing in, so now that he's popped his face out of the brush, Jim knows it's going to be a difficult time to survive.
So easy.
Trying to see if he can heal up with a little bit back in. The change too! First blood might go over, but it's a 1-for-1 trade top.
Oh, YHL kept the flash, thinking it wasn't going to be his life in exchange for Chim's. Really well played from Chim's to go 1-for-1 there. It just, the CC layer made it look like it was doomed for him. So Josie is going to be able to get the Raptors, the respawn Raptors in exchange. So far, excuse me, not a whole lot is lost for it here. Pockets is, he's in a spot.
And a bit of a spot, but John's on the other side.
Oh, no.
Sonic Wave over the wall, getting the flash from Tree Kangaroo, but they're going to be able to get the kill with that Ignite on top of him. John's trying to help out, waiting for Ukiri to be able to show up, but instead, it is going to be Just Randoms escaping with that kill.
And there it is. That is tough. You don't know where Lee Sin is. Looking for skirmishes that early is not ideal. Again, this is how Just Randoms want to play this early game. And I'd like that we see YHL make plays topside, try to have early impact with what Volley Bear's kit can offer you, but you don't want to bite off more than you can chew. Because again, Josie needs a lead for you to lose this game, UTD. If you don't give him that lead, you're set.
Uh-oh, though. Josie a little bit far out, trying to be able to get the wall over, be able to survive back in with that smite to help him out as well. Now that Pocus is nearby, unfortunate. It seemed like they might have been able to scare him away, but wait, top lane, again, a dive attempted, but it's a 2-for-1 this time!
I have no words.
Stop diving,
My words
Jim.
have failed me. Yeah, I don't like it. Don't stop. No. Just stop diving, Chim. Leave him alone. It's over. It's okay. It doesn't work anymore. Just dive someone else. Dive Vel'Koz. Yeah. Let's go with that. Dive Vel'Koz in the mid lane. Stop giving Silas kills, please.
Yeah, he's got 3 kills now. Let's take a look at this. So we're gonna go top lane. Oh, that was all over the place.
Yeah, it was, and so was that top lane dive. In fairness, so it's pretty easy. Nice and easy for Just Randoms to actually solidify themselves.
We got the T-Tours here. We're gonna have this wall.
You're right.
You know what I miss is sometimes in like a lot of those crevices, you would see really cool like little flavors and eye candy things of like little critters moving around. There used to be the deer top lane, but then the alcove came and replaced them.
Yeah. Man, I only saw those deer for like a season too.
Yeah. Weren't there for very long. Good sir. Gonna be able to get away from that gank from Pocus. Saying, yeah, not today. Not really gonna deal with that, but competition, he wants to be able to back anyways. He's level 6. So literally now, unfortunately, you've given 3 kills over to the Silas top lane, sending 3 members to try to be able to deal with him.
Oh no.
Steal the wall, looking to steal that away. He's stolen the Stormbringer. Dives on top of him. 1v3. Competition here now, turning it around. Jim trying to see if he can survive. Has enough health. Might be able to turn it back in. And look at that. It's a double kill.
No.
Here's 3. Level 3. The poor cow, unfortunately, not able to fight back. And now Ukiri, nowhere to go. He is cut off from his retreat. They might want to give over another kill, but instead it's going to be competition taking that one.
Yeah, this is so tough. UTD play towards the top side constantly because Renekton is pretty much their best laning, pretty much the strongest lane they can take advantage of at the moment here. But unfortunately, it just can't. It couldn't be going worse right now, and this bodes really well for their performance for the rest of this game, especially if Short Hop actually wins out on this trade here. The problem being,
good sir,
what did Just Randoms not want? Wait a second, you're right. Good sir,
yeah, that's like. You had Realm Warp too. I was expecting to see a flank using that, but instead, just going to scare off Short Hop and Pocus while Ukiri trying to get his red buff, but it is an invade from Just Randoms. They have a 2,000 gold lead, 7 minutes into the game once more.
Yeah, they're allowed.
And this time, it is 4v2. Good sir, trying to get the damage back, but he has to flash over the wall to be able to survive. Ukiri taking a lot of damage, trying to be able to escape from this fight, but he just cannot get away from Josie. Takes him down. Johns and Tree Kangaroo, they are on the flank, but unfortunately, the Johns is separated from him. He's trying to get back in. Double knockup comes in. Flash over the wall to be able to survive with Pocus taking a lot of the focus, trying to get away from the fight. But now it's going to be the Sonic Wave followed up. They take the kill. And they've continued to put this pressure back onto UTD, getting the knockup in with the Ferromancy as well as the Attract Repel. Flash over the wall coming in from competition. The Johns is dead to Short Hop. And Josie follows up once more to take down more members of UTD.
All right, I take it back. It now could not be going any worse for UTD's early game here. It's fallen apart once again, and now we're looking at 4,000 gold down to JR at just under 8 minutes in the game. Jesus is right. And I don't even think he could help UTD at this point in the game because, well, Lee Sin has 2 kills at 8 minutes. That's already a problem. Silas has 5 kills at 8 minutes. That's more of a problem. And Lee Sin has an experience lead on YHL. I saw that, Josie.
Yeah, he was trying to see if he can get the max range onto the
limit
chicken there,
testing.
Yeah, unfortunately, just not able to get it there. But he'll still get the chickens. He'll still be able to take that back out, get some crab on the side too, before maybe looking to see if they can have everyone in position to try to take down the first dragon of the game.
Yeah, still up for a couple of minutes now, but you can see from the pathing here that Just Randoms do look like they want to make the play for that first dragon, unless, no, it's just all kills all the time. Level 6 is here. Time for Josie to be a kick bot. Oh, come on, man.
Are they going to be able to get the sun? They couldn't get it onto Tree Kangaroo. Trying to be able to get away. There's the kick on top of him. No escape, no chains, nothing you could really do. There's competition. Knockback.
Wow.
Getting that knockback on a good serve. The TP is in behind, but look at the Predator. Trying to see if they can chase down Falcons. They got the Spaghetti Monster himself, but now Chim's got the damage. Has the dominance as well. Wants to be able to see if he can chase down, but instead it's going to be Hukili that he wants to be able to turn his attention back on top of. Even with the Stormbreaker, he could not escape from Chim. He is a rampage monster here on this Silas.
And it's 13 kills to 3 for Just Randoms here, as the first dragon still hasn't been taken. There's no objectives here. JR just won the KD.
Yeah, all right. Well, you know, between the break, you said it was going to be a quick game, too. I was like, really? You think so? Well, you know, 10 minutes into the game, 13 kills for Just Random here. I feel like you might have been onto something.
Come on, Alex. That was behind the scenes. That was supposed to be between us, man. Come on. But I mean, yeah, it does seem like that is,
when you're right, you're right. I gotta give you credit.
I mean, you're right. That's true. Yeah. Well, my predictions are safe. Get rolled, analyst desk.
Short hop.
Oh,
looking like he's gonna be able to turn this right back on a Tree Kangaroo. I thought he was dead. He didn't even have the Feather Storm. He has that flash available. Unfortunately, it looks like he's going to be chased down Ferromancy over the wall to try to see if they can get a little bit more damage on top of this Bullet Bear. Pocus. Oh, never mind. Nice blade call to turn it around. With the Johns underneath the turret. It's the flash in. 4-level discrepancy between Chim and the Johns. Easy dive that they were able to accomplish there. Turret next to fall. Top lane. Competition solo kills literally.
Oh, that's not fun.
This is rough. This is rough.
This is Scruff McGruff rough. Not gonna lie to you, Magical. It is that serious right now. First turret's gonna go down in Short Hop's favor at about 11 minutes. It's a lot of gold onto Just Random's 80 carry. And wow, thank you so much, observers, for showing us the gold difference here. It's kind of insane.
Short Hop has double the gold of the Johns.
That is disgusting.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a GG go next. This is one of those games that you're in and you're like, yeah, there's not much we can do. You got Just Randoms at nearly 2 kills a minute here. They're still working their way up there. What is that, a good 7,000 gold lead they've gotten for themselves here at 11 and a half minutes?
You'd be correct in mathing so. And at this point, lane assignments are kind of a thing of the past here for Just Randoms. They're just throwing whoever, wherever. I think Short Hop is going to take his chance at 1v1ing Lunarly. They're even in XP too, so that would actually be pretty funny.
It would be. I feel like Short Hop actually probably can 1v1 Lunarly.
I'm looking.
He's got himself Feather Storm. He's got Heal available as
Gale
well.
Force.
Gale Force too. Yeah, there's a lot working towards Short Hop here and not working towards the Croc. Now that Poke is showing up, Croc's gonna be able to back out of that one, not wanting to take part in that.
Can't say blame him. Isaiah, at the same level as you, it's already kind of a problem. A support as well? Not really liking their chances here. So that's just going to be more turret gold in favor of Short Hop. Once again, we see Just Randoms just keep funneling that gold into their 80 carry. And I talked about on the desk, this man can carry. We saw it game 1. We're seeing it game 2.
Yeah, he's going to be able to get, what is that, the second turret gold of the game for the top lane? Wow. See, that's how I'm even thinking about it. Towards the ADC, he is so not afraid as now Chim, it looks like he's in a little bit of trouble. Has Stormbringer himself with the blast cone to try to be able to escape. Going to be able to get the Ruin Prison on top of him. That's a lot of shutdown gold if they can pick up the kill, but unfortunately they're not able to get on top of him. He's still alive. Disintegration beam burns him alive. Double kill coming in from competition as Pocus going to scare away Tree Kangaroo, but Chim somehow he's able to bait him in, and they're able to pick up the kills while Short Hop solo kills top.
Okay, I'm going to give you my expert analysis on what just transpired. They're pissed. And we can see it in this replay because the Chim is dead to rights. Look at this man. But competition says, nah, you're good, homie. I got you. It's just,
that was a great double knockup with that.
Yeah.
Tectonic knockback.
He couldn't see them, right? So that was actually blind, I want to say.
I feel like the first part when he got the knockback, it wasn't blind, but then the laser was completely blind.
Amazing. Okay, we have confirmation that the entire thing was blind. Competition is crazy.
Well, you know, sometimes you're just gifted that way, right? Competition proving himself on this Vel'Koz counter pick into the Rise, working out so well. There are 19 kills here, 14 minutes into the game. Chim, all right. How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man? Jump on top of him. But he's still alive. Ruin Prison to lock him down. It's going to be the Realm Warp with the DP in behind. Can you kill Chim? That's the big question. Now the competition's here. We've seen how this goes before. They're going to be able to get the lockdown on top of him, but he's still alive. They're taking down the bear. Even with the TP, he's still alive. And he's stolen away the unbreakable chains and trying to see if he can turn it around. And of course he does. He's got himself a double kill looking for Tree Kangaroo, but he wants to gift it over to the Spaghetti Monster himself. All praise be the Spaghetti Lord.
And Johns is here, hopefully, to get the kill, but Chim says, no, you can't do this.
He was ready to flash in for the chains there. He was ready for it.
I would have done it.
I would have too. Flash is an offensive summoner after all.
That's right. No defensive capabilities in this game. We only go forward, right, Magical?
Exactly. Right now, we're having the push in mid lane. It looks like it's going to be another split fight. Short Hop has no heal, has no flash, has no escape, but somehow still is able to escape that one with Pocus taking a lot of the focus yet again. With
the ulti!
Gonna be the Stormbringer into the back line, but they're able to get the Blade Caller back on top of Hukididi. Pocus trying to flash away to be able to survive, finally dies, but the flash comes in from the John to be able to get away and look at Chim on the other side to try to see if they can turn it around, but it's a split fight working out towards just random the Johns, barely able to escape the flash in, though takes him down with the Sonic Wave.
And it's just doomed for UTD. Competition at this point just taking tower shots, saying, come on, let me pad the KDA. He's looking for 9-1. But overall, just randoms are just running over UTD, wiping the floor with them as they take Dragon number 2. They don't even need it.
I don't need it.
At this point, they're like, we got to do something while they respawn.
Exactly. And there's another solo kill. Chim's got 11 kills in this game as Silas. It is, what is that, 14,000 gold lead right now for just randoms here?
Yeah, that's, yes, you're right. 14, almost 15.
Yikes. That is a yikes, this one. No, I'm a big opponent against surrendering and FFing, because you can learn a lot in games, right? You can learn a lot in what can happen when you're behind and how to be able to fight from a deficit. But this game, it's more of a, we know the result. We know what's going to happen. You're pretty much just trying to see if you can learn tendencies of just random, as opposed to actually doing anything to win this game.
That's right. You know what? Going into week 2, after week 1, oh, wait a second. YHL.
Looks like they had Short Hop, but really, do you have Short Hop? No.
No.
It's a double kill that he's able to pick up for himself, and they even have the push in minions behind them. They could probably siege here. 17 minutes into the game. Try to see if they want to be able to take game 2, win this best of 3 pretty easily.
And it's going to be so difficult. We see a lot of wave clear for Good Sir, who might go down.
Good Sir, he's burned, and it's going to be an unofficial triple, official quadra. Could have been the unofficial penta, but it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, it's just about getting that victory, the W for Just Randoms, nearly having the 2 kills a minute as they continue to be funneled more kills, more gold each time they spawn back up. It's the 11th death of Hukidili because, again, they know this game is over.
33-7, and you gotta imagine that number is just gonna go up a little bit higher as Just Randoms are gonna take that mid inhib. There's a nice little what am I looking at there? Nice little setup of wards as Chim is just allowed to push this top wave on his own.
Yes, he is.
He is allowed to do whatever he pleases. Magical, literally.
This is his map. After getting dove twice, the first time it's a 2v1, is able to go 1-for-1. Second time is able to go 2-for-1. From that moment, it's like last game. In the game 1, we saw that Just Randoms, it was a wonky 4-minute fight, right? But they were the beneficiaries of it. They were the ones who ended up winning the fight, even if just barely, and were able to win from there. This game, it feels kind of similar, but this time it was just for Chim, and from that moment, it's been a struggle for UTD to be able to get back into this game.
Yeah, I think a struggle is a bit of an understatement here, as Chim, again, he's just wandering around the map like a nomad, just allowed to do as he pleases, and I think we have the second Rift Herald being soloed there, I think, by Short Hop, as, not really sure what,
They're having a dance party.
They're having...
Yeah, see, it's a dance party.
Wait, it does that? Why does it dance when it's...
You didn't know that? Wait. You didn't know that Rift...
Unironically, I did not know that.
Really?
Yeah.
It's I believe only if you have the Star Guardian skins.
Wait, that's amazing. I have Star Guardian skins. I can make
it's
right?
that, and I believe with Ari too in blue buff. If you have the Star Guardian skin with Ari on blue buff and walk up to blue, blue will dance with you.
Wow, that is the easiest $20 I'm ever gonna spend after this is over.
Uh-oh. Death Brush. When you're down 15,000 gold, does it work?
It's not a death brush. It is more like a tickle brush at this point.
Exactly. It's like, I would have respected them. They did try it, you know. They were like, all right, come on. But Just Random did not take the bait. Instead, they're just like, all right, we got Rift Herald. And you should know this. If you win the game with Rift Herald, then Rift Herald will party dance with you at the Nexus. Let's see if they're going to be able to get it. Stormbringer into the back line, and Hukiri is the first to die in the fight. Trying to see who else they're going to be able to take. They've taken out the Spaghetti Monster. They got a lot of damage on a Short Hop. Finally, he falls in the fight, but Chim is still alive. Flash coming in from Good Sir to try to be able to escape. That's Josie chasing down the Johns. On top of him, no way to escape. Chim is diving lunarly, finally finishing him off. Unfortunately, not going to be able to get the Dancing Shelly this time around, but game 2 is secured by Just Randoms, nearly having 2 kills a minute in this second game. They look absolutely dominant from moment 1.
It's a much different look from Just Randoms here compared to game 1, where things were a little scrappy early on, but this time around, Just Randoms said, listen, we got some stuff to do, so we're just going to end this one real quick. A 20-minute stomp. There is no other word for what we just saw. I'm like this close to DMing you a picture of a steamroller. Magical, just to, really sell it.
It was definitely a game. Yeah, a bit bad there for UTD. It feels like both game 1 and 2 though. There were these moments early on in the entire game that really set the tone for everything that transpired from there. Like I said, with Chim in game 2 getting dove twice, and both times being able to either come out even or ahead, and from there was just absolutely a terror for the rest of the game, where you couldn't really do anything on that Volibear. And then game 1, it was that 4-minute brawl around the scuttle that was barely won out by Just Randoms, but because they had the team fight composition that wanted that that small lead, it was enough for them to be able to explode the game.
Yeah, and it's really tough too. I think, especially in game 2, that first dive not going so well was really where it all started to fall apart. It makes sense. You layer your CC and everything is going cool. Going 1-for-1, well, it sucks a little bit, but it just kind of ends up being the situation UTD found themselves in with, I said it during the game. Renekton was kind of the only strong lane they had to play for. Maybe they could have played towards mid. If you commit the flash and get that stun onto the Vel'Koz, you could get an early kill and early pressure on him as well. But it seems like UTD just wanted to keep going all in on top lane. And as time went on, we saw why that's not allowed.
Well, the thing is, this is why I like Sylas, right? Sylas is a champion that is so deceptively tanky. He's someone that you think you can kill so easily, but if he's able to get away, if you're not able to lock him down and keep the CC chain onto him, Kingslayer's going to heal him up immensely when he's low. And then his lockdown potential back onto you is insane. And so it's a great pick to see out of Just Randoms and Chim. Congratulations out to them for that 2-0 victory. We're going to toss it back over to the analyst desk. They're going to break down that game as, best as possible they can. But why don't you guys take it away from here?
Welcome back, everybody, to a desk where we have counted 47 kills over the course of what was effectively 20 minutes, which was insane. Just Randoms was able to take the series and second game in very convincing fashion, and perhaps the most important part of the series, Beatdown. Got enough to share with the class? We caught you. We saw that food in the middle. You can fool everyone else. You can't fool us. As I guess we'll come to you, Nightstar, first before anybody else. Thoughts on that series, especially coming in after just one game blind?
I mean, both of these games lasted about a hot minute. So,
One hot minute. That is a perfect interval of time, yes. What about you, OP? I know you got to experience this whole thing. We were along for the ride pretty much the entire time. I know your expectations for UTD were much higher than what they showed today. What are your thoughts on the team today?
I don't know. Yeah, no, I totally predicted 2-0 for Just. No, exactly.
Yeah, I do remember that, yes.
No, it's Mad Magical brought the LPL here. We got to see NA's version of Game 3 of Top Esports versus Suning right there here in Game 2. Oof is what they would say. A lot of gorilla spinning going on from UTD, but Chim was the top primate there.
Yeah, oof is a more than adequate word used to describe probably the entire series as a whole. And as you had made mention, Chim not only having the performance of very, very solid performances across both games, but also being elected our MVP because of his performances. And in that game one, super solid on the Aatrox, absolute rock for the team, was able to play around him really well. And in game two, he was on the losing matchup for the Silas up against the likes of the Renekton. They gank him a bunch, and somehow he still pulls out the individual play. Nightstar, could you believe anything so ridiculous to come out from this team? Does this Just Randoms team flexing on all these other people with these individual skill? Do you see them being stopped in this group at all?
OP is just like, don't continue. just don't say anymore. I mean, they came out Just Randoms. This second game was truly just a flex draft. They brought out the muscles and they lifted a bunch of weights. And we looked at that top side, that by no means should have been even close for Chim. And UTD, they helped the cause. Sometimes you just gotta donate to the cause, and that's exactly what happened.
Absolutely. We get an opportunity to see these teams in the coming weeks, and we're going to get the chance to see Just Randoms against either Conviction or Bay State, depending on who takes that one. So they could bounce back, come into a 2-1 in the second half of the split. They'll get another shot at Just Randoms eventually. What about you, OP? Again, having watched this Just Randoms team, was this just so hard of a gap that you don't see UT Dallas the next time these two teams meet having a chance to come back against this team?
I think there is a lot of things that UTD can take from this, as long as the VOD reviews, don't go past like the 7-minute mark, because there's just a lot of stuff that you can take from it to learn. Like, this is really good. The intention is there in a lot of these plays, but the execution is lacking, and knowing when to stop overreaching and just taking a small win and not just kind of repeatedly hitting your head into the wall that was Chim and his gang down there. So.
And an extremely interesting series that was very high kill here for us here on this Upsurge desk. As it seems like our time is beginning to wrap up, gentlemen. I appreciate both of you being around. Nightstar stepping in for for the second game, I think was really important, as we thought we were going to lose Beatdown permanently, and fortunately he got to save his voice a little bit. And OP, having somebody especially of your experience, especially within CLOL, being able to give us the insights onto the clapping that just happened to the side of 4 UTD was very insightful insightful and helpful, probably especially for the team when they get to come back and review some of these VODs. It has been absolutely wonderful. I've been Rebel Fox, your desk host, alongside Nightstar and OP. You got your casters, Mad Magical Beatdown as well, hyper producing in the background. This is just day 1. Day 2 of the second week here of UPL is going to be on tomorrow. Some scrub color casters going to be covering Maryville University going up against Scouting for Pro Scene, which is another interesting team with a lot of names that are recognizable. Until then, we here at Upsurge thank you for showing up. Hope you had a fantastic time. We'll see you then.
Sir with the jump over the wall, making sure there's nowhere to go. Just Random's wrong side of the map, trying to see if they can escape with the TP coming in from Chim, scaring away the members of UTD. 3v5, damage into the backline. Look at Chim, take them down one. They might be able to get more, but they have to flash away to be able to survive. The flash is coming in, trying to see if they can resurrect.
Another auto?
They couldn't. It's going to be a turnaround from literally trying to escape, but just cannot get out of there. They've got him, even with the shield. They should be able to chase this down, but in the background for 3, and we are not done. A TP in. I believe it's the John showing up, but right on top of the traps. Gonna be the kill coming in from Hoop Kitty. Short Hop wants to trade it back. Gonna be able to knock up that they need to with the ignite and take down the kill and get excited for Short Hop. Right on top of Hoop Kitty, dead to be able to survive. Damage on to Lunarly. Looking good, sir. Gonna be able to get the shutdown. Drowsy put him to sleep, and now the heroic entrance to make sure they split up the theme like they might have been able to scare him away. But wait, top lane again, a dive attempted, but it's a 2 for 1 this time. Separated from him. He's trying to get back in. Double knockup comes in. Flash over the wall to be able to survive with Focus taking a lot of the focus, trying to get away from the fight. But now it's going to be the Sonic Wave followed up. They take the kill. And they've continued to put this pressure back onto UTD, getting the knockup in with the Ferromancy as well as the Attract Repel. Flash over the wall coming in from competition. The Johns is dead to Short Hop. And Josie falls wall to try to see if they can get a little bit more damage on top of this Bullet Bear. Focus. Oh, never mind. Nice blade call to turn it around with the Johns underneath the turret. It's the flash in. 4-level discrepancy between to try to be able to escape. Got to be able to get the Ruin Prison on top of him. That's a lot of shutdown gold if they can pick up the kill, but unfortunately they're not able to get on top of him. He's still alive. This integration beam burns them alive. Double kill yet again with
the ulti.
Gonna be the Stormbringer into the backline, but they're able to get the Blade Caller back on top of Hukidity. Focus, trying to flash away to be able to survive. Finally dies, but the flash comes in from the John to be able to get away and look at Jim on the other side and try to see if they can turn it around. But it's a split fight working out towards Just Random the Johns. Barely able to escape the flash in, though. Takes it.